You already knew that. Okay. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to our October 1st, 2024 meeting. Hard to believe we're into October. So I'm going to call the meeting to order and start off the land acknowledgement. We respectfully acknowledge that the Township of Havelock-Belmont-Methuen is located on the Treaty 20 Mississauga territory of the Mississauga and Chippewa Nations, collectively known as the Williams Treaties First Nations, which includes Curve Lake, Hiawatha, Alderville, Scugog Island, Rama, Coastal and Georgina Island First Nations. The Township of Havelock-Belmont-Methuen respectfully acknowledges that the Williams Treaties First Nations are the stewards and caretakers of the lands and waters in perpetuity, and that they continue to maintain this responsibility to ensure their health and integrity for generations to come. The next item on here is cell phones. I'll ask everyone to make sure your cell phones are on vibrate or turned off so it doesn't disturb the meeting. And I'll remind council of the declaration of pecuniary interest. If it rises, you can declare it then. And we have minutes here from the regular council meeting of September 17th. Everything's in order. I'll look for a motion to receive those. Moved by Councillor Doherty, second by Councillor Clement. All in favor? And that's carried. Okay, so we have one committee of adjustment or minor variance here, a deferred one. So I'm going to look for a motion to turn it over to Deputy Mayor Webb. Moved by Councillor Doherty, second by Councillor Clement. All in favor? Carried.
Thank you, Mayor Martin. I'll call this public meeting to order and remind the members of the committee of the requirement to disclose any pecuniary interests and general nature thereof if the occasion arises. This public meeting is held under Section 45 of the Planning Act and its regulations. And we will now have planning consultant Alicia Ackroyd from FOTEN present just one minor variance report today. Alicia, good morning.
Good morning. Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. Through you, the minor variance application being discussed today is file number A-10-24. And this file was deferred to today's meeting following the September 17th Committee of Adjustment meeting. I will be providing committee and any members of the public here today basically the same overview of the application that was provided last meeting, and then I will proceed to describe staff's recommendation for approval today. Without further ado, this application was submitted by Kirk Figuera on behalf of property owners Brian and Shannon Tomlinson. The property is municipally known as 105 Fire Route 75N. Property is located on Havelock Lake in the Methuen Ward, and it is identified as Part Lot 11, Concession 7, roll number 1531-010-009-02500. The property is the 1/3 of a hectare, which is approximately 0.88 acres, and is zoned seasonal residential and designated shoreline. The applicants are seeking to tear down and rebuild the existing dwelling on the site to a larger size. And to do so, the following variances are required. Reducing the required front yard setback from 21.3 meters to 0 meters. Reducing the required side yard setback from 6 meters to 4.6 meters. Reducing the required rear yard setback from 7.5 meters to 6.7 meters. And reducing the required setback from the high water mark from 30 meters to 29 meters. Just as a reminder, the front lot line is different than the high watermark on this site, which is why there is a setback to 0 meters, but then a setback to 29 meters for each of those respectively. The existing dwelling is 106 square meters in size, and the property is developed with a detached garage and shed. The existing dwelling is currently set back 26 meters from the high watermark of Havelock Lake, while the proposed redeveloped dwelling will be fully set back outside of the 30-meter setback from the shore, save an attached deck that will be at least 29 meters from the shore. So an overall improvement to the existing shoreline condition is proposed through the redevelopment of the site. Upon circulation to the Crow Valley Conservation Authority for comment, initially there was a request for deferral made to provide the Conservation Authority time to confirm the floodplain elevation as it applies to the property. The committee voted to defer the decision on this application to today's meeting in hopes of providing the Conservation Authority time to have made the decision on the flood elevation on the property. Though the Conservation Authority Board did defer the decision regarding the flood elevation as pertaining to the property and the overall Cashbog Lake, Conservation Authority staff have since been out to the subject property to confirm the flood elevation as it pertains specifically to this site. And they deduced that the application does not pose a flooding or erosion hazard, which was the main reason for their request for deferral initially. So the Conservation Authority has confirmed that they have no objections towards the proposed application, though they would like for a permit, of course, to be applied for and obtained by the applicant. And as planning staff are now able to confirm that our recommendation is aligned with the work that's been conducted with the Conservation Authority, we are recommending approval of this application subject to the conditions that were previously included in the initial recommendation report. So it is my professional opinion that this application meets the 4 tests of minor variance, is in keeping with the provincial policy statement, and meets the intent of the growth plan for the Greater Golden Horseshoe, and I'm recommending approval today.
Thank you very much for that report, Alicia. I think we have the agent online, Mr. Figuera. Do you have anything to add?
No, sir. Sounds like it's all in order.
Okay, thank you very much for that. Is there anyone present or online wishing to speak in opposition of this application? Second time, anyone wishing to speak in opposition? Third and final time, anyone wishing to speak in opposition of this application? Is there anyone present or online wishing to speak in favor of the application? Second time, anyone in favor? Third and final time, anyone in favor of this application? Not hearing any comments. Before we open it up, I'll just remind members, I think we remember this was our last meeting. We were just waiting for, as Alicia said, an okay from Crow Valley, which seems to have come. So I'll open up to the committee for questions or motion. Councillor Flagler, go ahead.
Yes, I'll have a motion that we pass with the recommendations.
So motion to approve with the recommendations, moved by Councillor Flagler, seconded by Councillor Doherty. All in favor? And that's passed. Thank you very much for that. I believe that's the only report we have today. So thank you very much, Alicia.
Thank you, Alicia.
Mr. Figuera. You too. Sorry, I forgot.
Thank you, committee. Thank you.
I'll now take a motion to adjourn the public meeting and return to the regular council meeting. Moved by Councillor Clement and seconded by Councillor Doherty. All in favor? And that's passed. Mayor Martin.
Great, thank you. So we're going to move into delegations. We have one delegation here, and it's Daniel Seagal with regards to municipal housing development. So welcome, Daniel.
Hi, thank you for meeting with me today. Can you hear me all right?
Yeah.
Fantastic. My name's Daniel Siegel. I'm a Terrion builder who's been doing laneway houses and garden suites since 2020 in both Toronto and Hamilton. I come to you today to advocate for municipal housing developments of attainable housing. First of all, let's just do a little definition of terms. There's affordable housing and then there's attainable housing, and they're very different. Upper tier municipalities are responsible for affordable housing. That would be rent geared to income type housing situations, and generally they're rental based housing. What I'm talking to you about today is attainable housing. And attainable housing is the type of housing where you would move after you move out of your parents' house, you get your first job. Alternatively, seniors downsizing use this type of housing. And then finally, temporary workers or maybe semi-permanent workers who come to your municipality to work and live. They're looking for something that they could live in, based on a project basis. And generally, this type of housing could be either rental-based or ownership-based. Under the ownership-based model, Habitat for Humanity is really the only entity in Ontario doing this type of housing. This type of housing was built during the 30s, 40s, so wartime housing, and then again in the 80s. But since then, no one's really been building it. The reason for that is pretty simple. The internal rate of return of each one of these houses is about 10%. And as a developer, my cost of capital is about 15%. And so I'll never build these things, and likely no other developers will. They're more interested in the 4 bedroom, 5 bathroom, larger houses, which is maybe the second or third house someone will own in their lifetime. My presentation today is about the need for these types of entry-level houses and a partner to fund the development of these types of houses that have a more affordable cost of debt. So municipalities in Ontario, generally, your cost of debt is somewhere around 2 to 4.5%. And the purpose of this meeting actually is to open the door to having the municipality and maybe a third partner, something like a community futures or a traditional bank, develop the infrastructure to be able to build this type of housing. Now, everyone knows that Ontario is going through a housing crisis, and fundamentally, that housing crisis has to do with these types of houses. And specifically, I think it has to do with the ownership component of these types of houses. Canada's built on home ownership. It's very favorable to buy a house. There's the capital gains exemption for primary residence, and that's how a lot of Canadians make their wealth over their lifetime. It's not through their jobs. And opening that door to young Canadians is very important. I don't know whether you've experienced it yourself or maybe through a family member. There are a lot of young Ontario men and women who leave the province because they can't find housing to meet their needs. So maybe they'll leave the province, maybe they'll go off to Alberta and work, maybe they'll go to the US. Frankly, it's these entry-level houses that are missing all over the province. And so my advocacy here is to propose solutions to municipalities to create attainable housing. Now, I want to show you a picture of what I'm talking about, and then we could talk about the how. So these are the types of communities I'm looking to build all over Ontario, including in your municipality. And you'll see attached to my delegation, there should be a draft resolution to open the door to entering municipal housing. So each one of these is a 600 square foot, 2 bedroom, 1 bath detached unit that could be sold upon completion. They're prefabricated in Kingston. They come with a Tarion warranty and they're CSA approved. Each one of these units is built off-site and will arrive on a truck and put in place on helical piles with a crane. And from start to finish, my delivery time is somewhere between 4 and 8 months per unit. The site should be municipally serviced. Otherwise, the numbers stop making sense pretty quickly. However, my purpose of this presentation is that the draft resolution be forwarded to staff for a report so that I could start talking with city planners, putting together a team to look at feasibility of where it makes sense to do this, if at all. So something like this should be done through a municipal housing corporation. I'm not asking for you to take money out of your operating or capital budgets. These projects have to be self-sustaining. Otherwise, they become a drain on your finances, which is not my intention here. My intention is really only to build as many of these units as your community could sustain, and then stop building and retire any debt associated with this project within a period of 3 to 6 months, potentially, and go on to the next community. I've approached, by the end of the month, I will have approached all 444 municipalities in Ontario, giving them this as an option to solve their attainable housing crisis. The upper tier is never going to build the type of housing that your children or maybe your children's children need to move into. And frankly, within the past year in Havelock, there have only been 8 houses sold publicly that were smaller than 2 bedroom, 2 bath. And that's not, frankly, enough for the size of your population as far as I'm concerned. Other things to consider, there are a ton of federal and provincial funding options to supplement this type of project. However, I can't apply for them as a for-profit business. Working within a not-for-profit municipal housing corporation, going after these types of funds is more than feasible. Generally, my timeline for something like this is about a year and a half per municipality to get shovels in the ground. And the other thing I like about this project is that it's incremental. So there's no need to build all 15 at a time. You could pre-sell as many as you want and then have those delivered to site with very little risk. Basically, it's only the risk of acquiring the property if you don't already have land that you're interested in developing. Frankly, a lot of municipalities get stuck in the idea of they don't have municipal land. That's not a prerequisite for this. In fact, the land should be the basis of the financial decision, not the availability of municipal land. And then finally, I also want to point out that this should be self-sustaining. So this shouldn't be drawing from your capital or operating budgets. And finally, we could have a conversation with your CFO about how to keep the debt from this project off your balance sheet so you don't violate any of your covenants. That's for a later meeting, but I've got great stories that you might be interested in hearing about. With that, again, my recommendation here is that the draft resolution be referred to staff for a report. And I'm here to answer any questions you may have.
Okay, thank you. And we're very informative, and the attainable thing is a problem out there, but how we get to fix that, I'm not sure. This is an option, but I'll open up the council here, and if you have any questions, go ahead.
Yeah, through you, Mayor Martin, just for clarity, I see kind of showed me a picture at the end, but I'm looking for clarification in terms of what kind of housing, like what you showed me there looked more kind of like trailers than houses.
That's
And then
right.
sorry, but you referenced something else in terms of hasn't been many houses in our community that are smaller than 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom. And
That were sold over the last 30 days,
yeah,
MLS.
how many houses are there that are smaller than 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom? Because anything smaller than that to me would be considered a trailer or something like that.
Right. Okay, so let me first show you what I'm talking about. Okay. All right. So what we have here is House Sigma. I'm not sure if you're familiar with it, but it's basically MLS that's publicly available. And so here, my search is 2-bedroom, 1-bathroom. And my time period here is 360 days. And that's how I got to 138 houses within Havelock that were of that property type. This is the type of house that would sell. So my price point would ideally be ready for sale at about $350,000, of which first-time home buyer would have to put 5% down, and likely the mortgage on that would be cheaper than rent. So there's my thesis. Your comment about trailer parks is valid. These are on helical piles, and it may look like a trailer park, but these are fixed to the ground on helical piles, and they could also be stacked. So there's an ability for somebody who buys an attainable house who wants to develop their family to add second and third stories to these as their family grows. So the idea here is that you want a young person who buys a house for it to be appropriate for their size, but also appropriate for growth. So ideally, a situation where they buy this thing and then by year 5, maybe they put a second story on it. And because these are modularly built, you could literally put a second or third story above, and it would accommodate the size that they need to live. And so I don't know if you've ever seen a two or three story trailer park. They just don't exist. And the other issue with trailer parks is for a lot of trailer parks, you have to vacate the premises once a 1 month out of the year. So that's not the case. The key here is to make affordable housing that you can get a mortgage on. And frankly, I don't think banks lend on mobile homes because of the transient nature. What we're trying to do here is compact communities that allow for growth if growth is warranted.
Thank you very much, Mr. Siegel.
Yeah.
Okay, Councillor Clement?
Through you, Mayor Martin. So do you have a completed one that we could see?
Yes. So
Like a
after this meeting, I'll
semi-annex?
send you the details, but they're in the Build Center in Vaughan, I believe. You could have
You don't
one.
have any small communities like ours? That have.
Frankly, I only started this project 2 months ago, so I don't have any completed communities at this point, but I've been doing these types of houses since they became legal in Toronto and Hamilton. And I'm convinced that this is one of many solutions to the housing crisis, but frankly, I don't see anyone going down the route of ownership that doesn't have strings attached to attainable housing. I mean, basically the landscape today is such that the only way you could get an attainable house is if you get a substandard house and you're forced to put work into it. And I don't know too many young people who are that handy unless they have very generous parents who might be in the industry. But I think it's incumbent upon us for the next generation to provide housing to young people who we're trying to keep in the province without giving them, for lack of a better word, a room full of headaches, leaky roofs, inappropriate electrical. Like, let's build them some housing they could actually build a family, and that's up to the building code.
Okay, thank you. I would be interested in seeing your finished one.
Yep. So after this, I will send you the details, and you could go see the floor model. Absolutely.
Okay, Councillor Doherty?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. How many square feet are in these units, or does it depend?
So we have a bunch of different models we could work with. The key here is that my feeling is that a 2-bedroom, 1 bath allows for somebody to live and work from home. You need basically an office, and you need to be able to sleep and have a living room. And that's basically what I feel is entry-level ownership housing. That's not a condominium. We have that. Frankly, if you want bigger or smaller, we have a bunch of different options we could work with. At this point, this is the
Just a
Niagara
range.
model.
Is it 1,000 square feet, 850, 1,200? Like,
This
what
one in
what's your
particular
range?
is 600. Oh, the range. Frankly, we could do whatever you want. I mean, as long as we have the volume, we're quite flexible with the size. Ontario just changed the I'm not sure whether your municipality as well, but has changed it. But the minimum square footage for a habitable dwelling has been decreased. I think it was Bill 22, but I'd have to double check. So the minimum size has decreased to allow for these types of housing. Yeah, I mean, this one is 680 square feet.
Okay, thank you. A follow-up question. What type of ownership is the land? Is it?
Great question. So we have options. You could either set it up as a condominium corporation, or else you could subdivide it. Ideally with a minister's zoning order that would just decrease the costs like crazy and really contribute to the affordable aspect of homeownership, without the ongoing costs of running a corporation, a condo corp. There are options. It really comes down to what we feel is best for the location.
So what are your lot sizes then? Is it 25, 30? Like, is it a semi-base? I'm not getting a feel for what you're going to build, or do you just go to the market and see what it'll bear?
So frankly, I think that the risk-based approach of pre-selling the units before anything's even built is a fantastic test of the demand. So frankly, I don't want to come to you and say it's going to sell unless I know that there's a buyer lined up to buy it. So I think that the lowest hanging fruit here is to sell them as pre-sale models on land that's already been subdivided. That requires the least capital investment and the least risk from the municipality's perspective or the municipal housing corporation's perspective. That being said, having a floor model is not a bad idea for people to come and see what's there. Frankly, these are all things that I think are important to discuss once the draft resolution is referred to staff for a report. I'm not tied to anything in particular. Some communities, it makes sense to do one thing or over another, depending on the intended demographic. So unfortunately, I don't have a great answer besides it depends.
Thank you.
So I think one of the questions was like, would these be like 25-foot lots, 20-foot lots and built long ways, whatever? What's the standard out there?
It depends on your zoning and it depends on whether we're on municipally serviced land. If we have to do well and septic, it becomes very complicated and the lot sizes have to be way bigger to accommodate the septic field, right?
Yeah.
If ideally we make them as narrow as possible because that fosters a sense of community. The mayor of Brant liked this model and he said, what I like about these models is that when you go away for the weekend, your neighbor could take care of your dog. And frankly, the wartime housing, I think, was successful because it was so densely packed. So again, I'm open to a lot of different options, but I really don't want to be reinventing the wheel here. I think that we should go based on things that have succeeded in the past to allow for success in the future.
All right, thank you. And our CBO is on here, and I think, if I'm not mistaken, we were at 1,050 square feet for a minimum house size. But Travis, do you have any answers there?
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Yep. So good morning, Mr. Mayor, members of council. Yeah, our minimum size right now is 1,050 square feet. So something like this, if something like this was proposed, it would be looked at through the zoning and maybe have site-specific sizes for it. And when we do our complete overhaul, we'll have a look at the sizing of dwellings again too.
Okay, thank you. So,
Mr. Follow-up question. Did I understand that the market segment you're looking for is professionals that are migrating out of province? Did I hear that right?
So the market for attainable housing, my only point here is to demonstrate that it's not going to be filled by the upper tiers affordable housing projects. What I'm talking about here is a segment of the population. It doesn't necessarily apply to, your children or your children's children, but what it applies to is quality entry-level ownership housing. And the correct demographic for that depends on the municipality and the community and who's interested. So, for example, when I was talking to Cochrane or Iroquois Falls, they have a lot of industry that's leading the development here. So, for them, it's workers. For your community, it depends on what the need is. And frankly, I haven't done enough research to figure out where that need comes from without, a report or an in-depth conversation with, a real estate agent or whatever. So I know that there is a need. I just don't know what it is in your community.
thank you. Are there any other questions for Daniel? Okay, well, Daniel, thank you for this. There's a lot of information here, and for today, I'm going to look for a motion that we receive the delegation. Moved by Deputy Mayor Webb, second by Councillor Doherty. All in favor? And that's carried. Thank you very much for this, Daniel.
Thank you. We'll be in touch.
All All right then, so we're gonna move in along. We have staff reports for information. We have 3 reports here from the fire chief for May, June, and July. If there's, is there any questions around these reports? Councillor Doherty?
Perhaps I'm misunderstood or confused, but I thought that we were going to get a breakdown of the calls. So what the fire chief was responding to and the deputy fire chief to, so we could have an idea of the workload. Ray, is that forthcoming or not?
Through you, Mayor Martin, yes, Councillor Doherty, it is coming hopefully for the next meeting, closed session.
Thank you.
Okay, so staff reports for information.
Receipt.
Moved by Deputy Mayor Webb, second by Councillor Clement, all in favor, and that's carried. Okay, so we move into staff reports, with action items here, and Lionel, you're the stuff. With regards to the pumping test well, pumping water quality testing, so good report. Think to add to your report or?
Through you, Chair, no, there's nothing really to add, just that the discussion at the previous council meeting regarding the installation of test well and pumping tests and water quality testing could be accommodated within the budget approved during the 2024 budget deliberations.
Thank you. Any questions around the report?
Sorry, Mr. Mayor, not really a question. Thank you for the report. I'm sorry, I don't know if it's a financial question, but for the new product, have we decided where we're going to be doing this testing? Because I knew we had that presentation about up here on the Esker. So
That's what it was, yeah.
have we made that decision yet? And this is just a matter of the funding to do that, or that's all I was just around?
I think that's what it was for,
Okay.
yeah. Yeah,
Sorry, I should have turned that on.
from that delegation last week, we did not pay for it, so
Okay.
Lionel's brought forward.
But our aim is still to,
Yeah,
okay, because the results were good from that presentation. I thought.
yeah,
Thank you.
so, okay, so,
Make a motion.
okay, moved by Councillor Doherty that we go with the recommendation here. Second. Councillor Clement, all in favor? And that's carried. Thank you, Lionel.
Thank you, Lionel.
Okay, next item here is the pumpkin parade. Josh isn't with us today. I know staff is here. The one change there was November 1st, not November 11th, but it's been a pretty successful event.
Motion to
Move it.
approve the recommendation.
Okay, moved by Deputy Mayor Webb, second by Councillor Flagler, all in favor, and that's carried. The next item here is Parks and Rec with regards to facility rental requests for Apple Day. The scouts.
Motion.
Okay,
Motion to
we're
approve.
moving that. Okay, that's moved by Deputy Mayor Webb and second by Councillor Clement. All in favor? Carried. Okay, and the next item here is the fire and ice. And this is testing council approval regarding the request from Havelock Fire and Ice. Special committee to hold the Fire and Ice Havelock Community Center. The recommendation there, what's council's thoughts on that?
Make a motion to approve with question.
Okay.
Sherry, through you, Mr. Mayor. This is the one. Has the planning for the 2025 event, has that begun? As of yet, we're just obviously granting permission here today, but
through you, Mayor Martin, there are plans that have been laid in terms of preemptively booking talent and whatnot. The committee has met twice and will meet again next week to put more planning into place.
thank you.
Okay. So.
Yeah, I'm a motion to approve the recommendation.
Moved by Deputy Mayor, second by Councillor Doherty. All in favor? Carried. Okay, the next item here is proposed wireless communication sites. Yeah, go ahead.
Through you, Mayor Martin, The purpose of this report is to present to you a proposed wireless telecommunication tower to be located at 7891 County Road 46. In addition, this is to ensure you that the tower complies with the township's communication tower installation policy 2024-03-19 and to issue a letter of concurrence to our representative from Rogers Saja Al Sheikh, Land Use Planning Project Manager. Our recommendation to council is that council receive this report as information and that council concurs the required public consultation pertaining to proposed Rogers Communications Tower C8643, which is oftentimes referred to, has been completed and that all reasonable and relevant concerns pertaining to the proposals have been addressed. And the proposed tower site C8643 complies with land use requirements and that Rogers has fulfilled Innovation, Science and Economic Development Canada, ICID, default protocol CPC 2-0-03 as they relate to this proposed site. It is also to authorize the CAO and clerk to sign the letter of concurrence to permit Rogers to move forward with the installation of the proposed wireless communications tower. In terms of background, what's most important is, of course, to confirm the site location. And the proposed site location is on a treed property with approximately 70 hectares. There are no existing dwellings located surrounding the proposed installation within the 180-meter notice radius as included in our package. The closest residential dwelling to the proposed installation is 200 meters away. The installation will have no impact on the watershed or wells, water quality or water systems, no chemicals, pesticides, or herbicides that could potentially have an adverse effect on the water systems will be contained, within their structure or the associated walk-in radio equipment cabinet. The on-site in-service, there are no noise associated with the daily operation of the tower installation. Rogers installation as proposed will not affect the existing drainage patterns servicing the property's current use. Access to the installation during construction and for maintenance purposes will be via an existing entrance and new access road from County Road 46 to the proposed small compound approximately 100 meters in length. The site will occupy a compound area, approximately 72 square meters, which will include both tower and equipment. The ground will also contain a walk-in equipment cabinet. The Township of Havelock-Belmont-Methuen is the applicable land use authority for this application, whereas the federal government is the approval authority for the telecommunication towers. The Township of Havelock-Belmont-Methuen official plan designates the location of the proposed facility as rural. In accordance to Schedule A2 of the Township of Havelock-Belmont-Methuen Comprehensive Zoning Bylaw 1995-42, as amended, the subject property is currently zoned rural and environmental protection. The portion of this property will have housed the facility in the rural zone. Importantly, the public notice of intent to construct the tower was circulated by the agent in the Havelock Rail, August 2024 edition, with the public consultation period ending on September 2nd. All properties within the notice circulation area were notified by July 31st. No comments were received from property owners within the 180-meter radius or public with respect to the proposed towers. And that is to confirm that there are no comments drawn from the notice in the paper either. Given the foregoing, staff are of the opinion the proposed telecommunications tower, C8643, complies with all land use requirements and Rogers has completed appropriate public consultation and therefore recommends that the letter of concurrence will be issued. The draft proposed letter of concurrence was included within the package. Thank you.
Thank you. So there is a recommendation here. It is in an area that can really use some help. So we'll just open it up to go to a public consultation too. So we'll bring it out in a different way too. So the recommendations here with council, somebody want to?
Sorry, just to correct Mayor Martin, the public consultation has been completed.
It's in place? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, oh, it concurs with it. Okay, thank you. So, all right then, so recommendations here, moved by Deputy Mayor Webb. Second, Councilor Clement, all in favor? That's carried. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
So the next item on here is the winter maintenance agreement, Peter.
Yeah, good morning, Mayor Martin, members of council. The purpose of this report is to seek council's approval to enter a contract with MCON Services for the winter maintenance of the connecting link, 2024-2025 winter maintenance season. I would like to add that the recommendation, Bob might need to help me with the wording here, but the agreement as it was sent, Section 1, the date of July 2023 will be changed to the third day of September 2024. Section 5, the insurance will be changed as well. So MCON shall maintain and obtain during the term of this agreement commercial general liability insurance in form satisfactory to the township, naming the township as an additional insured in respect of the services performed by MCON. So there's another paragraph that will be changed. But we wanted to have this out in this meeting, and the prices are as stated in the reports.
Okay, so yeah, it's one of those things that's connecting link. It's like I know it used to be below 20,000. It just keeps going up, and I realize it's only 3% or whatever, trying to go cost of living or whatever, but it is a cost that we face that others don't, and we need to keep highlighting that with the government. And I have said before that we need to get MTO in here for some other things. And I'm not sure if that's the group that we would speak to about this too, but these sort of things, especially with the consistency that we're getting, because we don't seem to have a say on the quality of service we get. And if you look between here and Norwood, they have a different standard on the side of the drain road compared to the other side, and they do traffic studies and all that. But when somebody's driving through from Peterborough to Ottawa or wherever, they don't expect a different standard, and it should be at least kept up to the standard that people are experiencing all the way along. So there's not much we can do. This is a thing that we have to do, but it's something that we should keep following up. And I'm gonna send this to Dave Smith anyways, just to show him what we're experiencing, and see if we can get any help with things like this, because there's so many things that grants out there, and this is one of those things that, as much as we somehow got roped into this connecting link years ago, I think Marmor Lake is a connecting link too, but Norwood isn't. So we need to look at this again and make sure they understand that we, this is coming out of our both coffers. So anyways, so the recommendations there. And I just think we need to follow up on this. So it's council's thoughts. Councilor Doherty?
Mr. Mayor, what was the budgeted amount for you?
3 year Martin. So that's coming into 2025 proposed budget. So there is a slight increase in our 2025 operating budget. So
what was last year's?
Last year we were 35,000, I believe, was in contracts, but that also includes other contracts as well as this one. So I proposed an increase because of the other contracts that's still out for quotation right now. Last year, I can't remember the exact quote what that come in at, but yeah, there's that. Sanding and salting of our northern transfer station up north, Shaling, Blair, Newhams, that quotation as well. So there is a slight increase in that operating budget.
Follow up, I made through, Mayor. We have said that Norwood was not involved in the link. Who picks and chooses the connecting link roads, and who chooses to pay? Is that a Ontario government thing? So I think we should be doing more than bringing it to the attention of Dave Smith. Maybe it'd be a nice question to ask him why it's different from community to community, and where's the money? Thank you.
So over the years, we have done that, and that's what I'm saying, is we gotta keep doing that. Not that it's helping, it doesn't seem to be helping, but we need to do that. We need to keep it in their base that we're paying extra where others don't have to. It just doesn't seem fair. So I know they have specific connecting link grants that we do access, but we still are spending our tax dollars on Highway 7 where others are lucky enough that they don't have to. And it'd be nicer if there was nothing there, but I don't know where this agreement came from. We've asked that question over and over and over. It's something that came up. It's from, I don't know whether it's from amalgamation or from the 70s. I think it's way back. And somehow how they pick and choose, I don't know, but Marmor, I think Tweed is connecting link. There's a few along the highway that have it, but there is gaps. So I don't know what the logic was, but
we have a different scenario here, I think, too, because the other side there is, I don't know if it's owned or used by the Lions Club.
Yeah.
And CP Rail has an agreement. So I mean, it's like I said, it's not the same as kind of other towns. So for us to do that, like, I think you might lose some of what we have over there, right? So if we switched it over to MTO, they might tell you, well, get rid of the caboose and get rid of this, and because they'll have their own rules in terms of a highway and what's supposed to be next to it, right? So
yeah, that happened with our gateway sign. We were allowed one. I remember Norwood put one in and they had to remove it because it was on Highway 7 properties. So yeah, there's things like that could affect us in a different way. So maybe that's a good thing about it, to help us with what we have to deal with. So, but we need help with these sort of things. So on these types of costs, that this is a provincial highway. It's not Havelock's highway. We even looked at it one time about getting the county to plow it or getting our own contractor. We don't have any say in the contract. We just pay it. So, Councilor Doherty.
Mr. I didn't follow all that rhetoric there about other things, but I guess the point is still need to continue on asking. I don't know why somebody would be upset if you're asking them why we're in and why we're out. I don't know why that's such a difficult question to answer on the government. They must have a policy or bylaw or something. But, we should be getting consistency, that's all.
Okay. So
we get a motion yet or no?
No. A motion to approve. Recommendation, second. Councilor Flagler, all in favor? And that's carried. Deposit return program.
Yes, through you, Mayor Martin, the deposit return program was recently advertised. Township received one submission from the Havelock-Belmont Public School Council, and staff is recommending that council approve a partnership with that group.
Very good. So,
yes, I will
go with the recommendation.
Yes, go with the recommendation.
All right.
Awesome.
Second by Councilor Clement. This is a great program. Good money. Really helped out hockey last time, and it's a lot of work though. So, but that being said, it's really good to see the community benefiting. So,
Just a question, sorry, the money side of it. There's a gap from, I guess, at the end of 2023 to the start of June in 2024. Does that mean we just don't collect bottles during that period, or nobody?
Through you, Mayor Martin. So the previous agreement was July 1st, 2023 to June 30th, 2024. Havelock Minor Hockey sent in all of their returns and collected a total of $5,326.20. Since July 1st, township staff have been collecting and has collected, as of the writing of the report, $1,628.30 worth of returns. And it is proposed that this be the startup fund for the new group with an agreement ending June 30th, 2025.
Okay, and I think I might have figured, there's a gap in the dates there. So what all I was saying is, are we not collecting bottles? But it looks by May 31st, they just been stacking them up and get caught up. So
Right.
I apologize for not picking that out.
No, that's great. Yeah,
So next year's, this will run, and the new one, we'll make sure we advertise early and there won't be that gap.
I was just saying, because it seems that it's maybe not a lot to some, but
Yeah.
$200 or $300 every couple of weeks, you know, that's to the small organizations, that's a
Yeah.
good chunk of money. So
It's prime time.
I think it's worked out very well. So
Yeah.
congratulations, council.
Yeah. So, okay, so we have a move.
Yep, moved by Councillor Flagler, seconded by Councillor Clement.
Thank you. All in favor? Carried. All right, committee appointment. Clarification here.
Yes, through you, Mayor Martin. So this report requests that staff proceed with an advertisement for the committees of council that are to be advertised with terms expiring at the end of this year. There are 3 committees of council: Economic Development Committee, Matheson Property Committee, and Youth Committee. There's also the Cemetery Board, which requires advertising. The next appointments will expire with the term of council on November 14 of 2026. And this report also requests that we reformat the Matheson Property Committee and change the scope as per a previous discussion of council. And the proposed name is the Matheson Property and Parks Committee.
Yeah, I really like the changes there and the frequency of the meetings, so I think that's really well done. You know, so anyways, good. Councillor Doherty, go ahead.
Sure, and I don't want to take anything away from the Matheson property, but why isn't it just a park committee? Why are we picking out why don't we call it a Rotary Park Committee? Or another, like, why are we focused on that?
Okay.
You want me to handle that or you want?
Yeah, because I was not involved with the name choice. I don't mind the name choice, but I understand where you're coming from in terms of that. Bob, go ahead.
Yeah, through you, Mayor Martin, there was a discussion at the last Matheson Property Committee meeting about expanding the scope of the committee. Different names were bandied around. One was Parks and Recreation Committee, and the group around the table certainly discussed that we don't want this to be a recreation focused committee, more of a parks committee. And the Matheson property is not a park. So there was discussion around maintaining the legacy of the Matheson property and the genesis of the committee and incorporating it along with a parks committee and expanding the scope.
Okay, is that good, Councillor Doherty? Or?
I guess what not to do.
All right,
So, you, Mayor Martin, if council wishes to choose a different name, that is totally council's prerogative to do so.
I'm fine with them.
okay. So the recommendation here is that staff is hereby authorized to proceed with the advertisement in order to recruit volunteers for 3 committees of council and the cemetery board. Moved by Councillor Flagler, second by Deputy Mayor Webb. Any other questions? All in favor? And that's carried. Okay. That's the end of staff reports with follow-up action. Move into correspondence action items. And we have one here from the Legion. And this is something we've done. So.
That motion to, or whatever they want.
Okay, moved by Councillor Doherty and second by Deputy Mayor Webb. Any questions around it? Councillor Flagler, go ahead.
Is that for the 395
Yes.
that we did last year? Okay.
Okay, all in favor? And that's carried. We'll our survey relief here. Compared to that, who's taking this one?
I think Travis wants to speak to this, if he's still on.
Travis, do you have anything to add to this report?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, just the the sketch that was provided yesterday, and I think Leah has a copy of that, and I assume it's been provided to council if it can be brought up, just to show the area of the tower itself, the unopened road allowance, Peninsula Road, the area. So when you look at the top right corner, you can see the tower circled on the unopened road allowance. So that's the reason that we've asked for the R plan that would go along with the license of occupation to make it a clear description, clear legal description to identify the property and go along with the agreement, as well as having the municipality named as additionally insured. And that's about all I have to add, unless you have questions.
All right. Any questions for Travis? Go ahead.
Through you, Mayor Martin. Through you, Mayor Martin. Travis, I'm just a little confused on the original survey he's saying, because did he not already do this before?
So through you, Mr. Mayor, when this was brought to our attention that the tower was installed without any approvals or permissions through the township, it was brought to our attention that the tower was there. So when I attended the site, as you can see on that map, we weren't sure without a survey whose property it was actually on, whether it was on Crown or Township. So we requested a survey to first identify where it is, whose property it's on. And that's what was done at that time, but not a total R plan.
Go ahead.
One more question, sorry, through you, Mayor Martin. So you're saying that he just put up the tower without any documentation?
So, yeah, when you get into the history of it, he had an agreement with the abutting landowner who was under the understanding that they actually owned the unopened road allowance that was between the two blue dotted lines. At the top of the screen abutting the M&R property. And when it was put up, it even missed that mark and was over on the other. So that was the reason for the survey.
All right, thank you, Travis.
You're welcome.
So they've already paid for one survey, and I think what they're asking here is why did they have to pay for the second?
Yeah, so through you, Mayor Martin, and perhaps Travis, can I ask you, the chief building official, just explain the difference between the art plan survey and the one that was already paid for and conducted?
So that through you, Mr. Mayor, the survey that was completed originally was just simply to identify what property it was on, and they were able to throw a couple setbacks in there. The R plan would be a registered plan that it would show the area that they're going to propose to encroach on, and that would not only include just the tower, any hydro access, guy wires, and anything like that, fencing that needs to be done to complete the project. So it would all be included within a certain area on the R plan, and then attached as part of the license of occupation to make it legal through council. And then council through the license of occupation would have opportunity to charge fees per year or no fees, whatever they choose at that time.
So we do need another survey then?
We do, and that's been standard procedure with any of these that I've been involved in, and that's been directed to me through legal.
Yeah.
So we can't really waive anything here. We have no control over it, do we? Travis says we need it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like the other option, and nobody ever likes the other option, but it's to relocate the tower. But yeah.
Yeah, I'd make a motion to receive and maybe contact Mr. Abrams and tell him, you know, there's a way we can help you. We could look into it, but it doesn't seem like there's
any options.
Yeah, any options for us here. We gotta follow the law, so.
All right, so that's moved by Deputy Mayor Webb, second by Councillor Blackler, that we write Mr. Abrams and tell him that our hands are tied. So, okay. Any other questions around that? All in favor? It's carried. Okay. We don't have any correspondence information items. So we'll move into committee liaison reports. We have a few here, so Councillor Flagler, you have the minutes from the Eastern Ontario Trails, June 12th, the Youth Committee, May 23rd and August 21st. So is there any questions for Councillor Flagler or motion to receive those minutes? Moved by Councillor Clement. Second by Councillor Doherty.
I just had a question for Councillor Flagler. How did the youth dance go on Friday night?
For you, Mayor Martin, very successful. They all had a great time. I believe our numbers were not as high as expected. But going forward from that, maybe working closely with public school more advertisement, because I don't really think it was out there. And anyway, yeah, it was a good time.
And I believe, was there a couple events coming up here for the fall? Was there?
There is a
Trivia night?
There is a trivia night coming up, and there's also another dance, but that's for the older kids that we will be using the Lions Club upstairs at the arena.
Very good. Thank you.
So,
That Rich? Okay.
all right. Okay then, and then the next item here is Councillor Clement, you were on the egg tour, which I heard was successful. And you went out to check the rodeo out.
It was excellent.
Yeah, so, yeah, good events and kind of a good education thing to see how things work.
Absolutely.
So, all right, did you have anything to add to that or? Okay, Council or Deputy Mayor Webb, your Economic Development Committee meetings are here, our minutes are here from May 27th and June 24th, so.
Did a good discussion, discussed a few things, fill them in on their strat plan process and a little bit of the background behind that. One thing that came up was there was a motion made to bring the discussion to council around when we get the second phase of George Street down here, down more in the downtown area, to investigate the hiding or street beautification, but I would say it's more the hiding of, say, the hydro lines, the bell lines, things like that. So when we get I apologize. So that when we get the construction done, that everything looks nice and neat, and we're not coming back in the years after digging it up, trying to put, whether it's, new cable lines, new hydro lines, whatnot like that. So trying to get all that together and kind of finalize what we might like the streetscaping to look like when we're done George Street. So, but those discussions will be coming to council in the coming months. So,
very good. Okay then. Okay, any questions for Deputy Mayor Webb? Go ahead.
Question, Mr. Mayor. The original George Street plans, I thought the wiring was to be buried. It's part of the construction. Did I misunderstand or?
I was unclear on that too, but it's been explained to me that I think some of it, I don't think it's going to be underground. I think some of it will be cleaned up and some of the poles over there, but the extent to which that is being done, that's why I've had Bob. I think Bob's been in contact with the engineers for what's going to be going on down here to find out what plans have been made already, and if they're not the plans that we're looking for, can we change them now, and what will be the cost if we change those plans? So I believe the CAO, I'll defer to him if I'm wrong, but when we went through this originally, we looked at a costing to hide all the hydro and everything, but the cost was too high. Now, what the committee's asked for is, instead of hiding it for the entirety of George Street, that it would be for the business district here, so Oak to Quebec, and then possibly up, maybe just past the post office. So the area that's used by most people. So
Thank you.
Okay. All right then, so if there's no other questions, I'll look for a motion that we receive all the reports. Moved by Deputy Mayor Webb, second by Councillor Clement. All in favor? That's carried. I don't have any written Oh, okay, sorry, county report.
Oh, yeah, county report, our meeting's, September 18th. We, well, the warden welcomed, we have close to 40 or 50 new Canadians there. We're getting a tour of got a tour of the courthouse. They get their eyes open to what it is to be a politician, I guess, in Canada. And I believe on that Friday, they were getting a tour of Lang Pioneer Village, weren't they, Jim?
Yeah.
So the warden was taking on a tour there. So that was nice. We had a presentation from the medical officer of health and CEO, Dr. Thomas Piggott, on climate change and how that will affect people's health here in Peterborough County. And staff reports, I guess, the chief of paramedics is looking into possibly, they're in discussions with Trent Lakes about a potential shared facility for paramedics. And I don't, is it fire as well or just paramedics? Just paramedics, okay.
It might be, yeah.
Okay. That's about it.
Yeah. And I was at an announcement on Friday, I think it was, or Thursday, with the with regard to economic development. So we've been moving through the dissolution of PCAD, and we did move into an agreement with Rhonda Keenan and Sarah Budd to help us in the economic development field of the county and the township. So it's a great addition and should really help us, keep on top of things for the county and economic development. So, questions? Yeah.
Just now that the hires were made, what is their mandate? What are their goals? What are their targets in terms? Is that to be established or is that already established? Because just accountability. I mean, we have the trifecta there now, according to the release, but what's it mean?
Yeah. So they'll be picking up where PCAD was. It'll be a similar expectation that there'll be kind of a thing working with our lower tier to try and encourage, tourism and economic development, because Tracy Bertrand's doing the tourism side of it. And so it'll be very similar to what PCAD was doing. I haven't got the agreement with me, but I can send it to you if you like. I don't have that today. I'm just telling you that it's a good thing for the county, and really looking forward to working with them. So the city's doing the same thing. So there will be duplication here. Not duplication though. They're looking after the city. We're looking after the interests of the county. But yeah.
Yeah, just further to that, yeah, so hopefully it's going to provide more focus in terms of when they work with us. Now they won't have half or more than half of their focus on the city of Peterborough. And to the mayor's point, I think that the employees that we scoop from there were pretty good. So hopefully we can accomplish something moving forward here. Yeah. And I also like the fact that they've separated the economic development and the tourism, because I think that gets conflated, and too often one's focused on more than the other, and they're both challenges for especially our community here.
Exactly. So all right then. So I hope that helps Councillor Doherty, but it'll be a very similar scope of work that was happening, other than it's going to focus more on the county instead of the city. So okay. So a motion to receive that report. That would be the county report.
Oh, the county report, sorry.
I skipped it. So moved by Councillor Clements, second by Councillor Flagler. All in favor? And that's carried. So yeah. Okay, so moving into other business and South local contest. Very.
Through you, Mayor Martin and councillors. So this is our second last draw for Shop Local. The last will be our next council meeting. I think the alignment drawn with council, regular schedule first and third Tuesdays has been successful. People are tuning in. I'm hoping we've again had a tremendous response, more than 48 responses. We are seeing repeat shoppers who figured it out, which is terrific. And our top 3 retailers were let's say businesses that had draws were Foodland, LCBO, and Petrocan this month. So if I could have someone.
So Leah, you were nominated.
Leah, if you would. Thank you very much. That's terrific. Thank you, Leah. And the winner is Jess McKay. It's great. This particular one was for home hardware. Thank you very much.
Okay, that's all we had in other business. Move into bylaws. The winter maintenance agreement in the bylaws here for bylaw 2024-071 regards to the winter maintenance. So moved by Councillor Clement, second.
Sorry, one question is the one for the connecting links, is that the amended?
Yes, this will be as amended.
Okay.
Based on
Thank
Peter's
you.
comments.
Thank you.
Yep.
So, all right, second.
Oh, sorry.
Okay, Deputy Mayor Webb. All in favor? And that's carried. All right then, so we do have a closed session. So I'm gonna say we take a recess here. And we'll come back in 10 minutes, so at 5 to 11. Moved by Deputy Mayor Webb, second by Councillor Flagler. All in favor, carried. Okay, we're back at it here, so I'll look for a motion that we go into closed session. Resume, sorry, motion to resume the open meeting. Moved by Deputy Mayor Webb, second by Councillor Clement. All in favor, that's carried. And now a motion to go into closed session. Held under section 239(2)(b) for personal matters about identifiable individual, including municipal or local board employees. So motion to go into closed, moved by Councillor Clement, second Deputy Mayor Webb. All in favor, and that's carried. Okay, so we're back in open session. So motion. What motion did you do? Lots. Nope, we're finished with close, so. Okay. We just move on. Okay, so we don't have anything coming open, so, so it's just a confirming bylaw. Confirming bylaw, Bev and Kathy, all in favor, and that's carried. And adjournment, Deputy Mayor Webb and Councillor Dory.
Favorite motion.
All in favor.
Every meeting.